It was a cold and blustery February night in Terre Haute, Indiana, as my parents rushed to the hospital in anticipation of my birth. So it was a special night indeed, but I was getting impatient. So there I was, in my mother's womb, pacing back and forth. All right, life, listen up and listen good. I'm only going to tell you once. Little Richard is going to come to town. 9 hours later, and bang! I enter the world in this exact triumphant pose. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow members and guests, a star was born. I'm going to put my ego on the shelf here, as I'm not usually that arrogant. So my background comprises of a Nigerian father and a Dominican mother. So I like to refer to my ethnicity as Dojiricano, to combine it. So I was born into this unique, rare, diverse mix, almost as if I was destined to be just immersed in this diversity. So where did I end up spending most of my childhood? Rural Pennsylvania. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I come from a land where there are these things called grass and free parking. You guys familiar? Maybe not. And it was called Jonestown, PA, and it was a great place to grow up and develop these neighborly Farmville characteristics. And I went to a high school where there were about 800 students, not many, but you had this culture where you got to know all your classmates, and it was great. And I enjoyed being a part of sports, holding leadership positions, clubs, and even off campus, being a part of the community and youth group. It was all essential to my character development. It was nice, but it wasn't enough. America's the melting pot of the world, they said. Not in Jonestown. There are very few minorities there, very few. And through my observations of people who made big, dramatic life changes, and they benefited from it, I came to an important understanding. In order to grow, change the status quo. In order to grow, change the status quo. I kept that in perspective, and I thought, all right, I want opportunity, diversity, experiences that I never experienced before in my life. I'm going to the city. I grew up in Farmville for a majority of my life. It's time to experience something new. So I began on my search, and I applied to schools in Pittsburgh, D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, and New York. I narrowed it down to Philadelphia and New York. But I decided to rule out Philadelphia on the grounds that I once broke the wall at the Constitution Center on a field trip there. That's a story for another day. So it was New York. Moreover, I was impressed by the opportunities that New York had to offer, Baruch in particular. So what I did, I applied to Baruch. I got accepted. I went to orientation. Convocation day came around, and the first day of school. That thought came to my mind again. In order to grow, change the status quo. Okay, Richard, you're here. First day of school, the opportunity is here. It's time to go. But before those moments of gut check time, let's backtrack to the spring of my senior year. That was when I decided to do a little bit of research on Baruch before I'd submit my $100 commitment deposit. I wouldn't want to be blasting out Benjamins that quick. I got on the computer and started to research the clubs that Baruch had to offer. And if you don't know, there are over 170 clubs, just a multitude of clubs. I'm looking, all right, Honor Society, InterVarsity Christian Fellowship. Oh, thank you, Jesus. I'll be in that. Alpha, I see, Toastmasters. Oh! You don't understand. I got all sorts of pumped when I saw Toastmasters on that list. Because I've always wanted to be a part of Toastmasters ever since I discovered them on YouTube in the spring before my senior year. Just watching those world-class speakers at the World Championships, the way they worked the crowd and captivated them, I thought, I could be there someday. I want to do that. I'd love to make a career out of that. When I graduate college, I'm going to join a Toastmasters right away. When I saw it on Baruch and I could do a freshman year, I'm going to Baruch. So now 3 weeks have passed. and I have all these life experiences, this diversity and opportunity that are just blending inside this internal melting pot. And ladies and gentlemen, I wouldn't consider myself a chef, but I know something good is cooking there. I can taste it. What about you? Evaluate whether you're experiencing some times of growth or stagnancy in your lives. What can you do about it? So always remember, in order to grow, change the status quo. Mr. Toastmaster.